We pick it up with just under 3 minutes left here. Magic and Pistons down 3. Cade Cunningham comes up clutch, knocks down that 26-foot three-pointer. Game is all of a sudden tied at 104. And the Pistons starting to cook, threatening here. A minute later, Magic up by 1. Franz Wagner drills the three-pointer. That would put the Magic up by 4 and back in the lead under a minute left. Magic up by 5 here. Paolo Banchero from deep gets the shooter's bounce in the Magic. Go up 8. Looking a little too close for comfort, though, in Orlando, but somehow they find a way. 113 to 105 was your final score from the Kia Center in Orlando as the Magic get it done, hold off the Pistons, and now take the 2-1 series lead. Game 4 Monday from Orlando at 8 p.m. Let's get into our post-game coverage as we now welcome in our own John Gonzalez for more. John, great to see you. This one, as I mentioned, a little too close for comfort for Orlando in the final minutes. We saw Cade Cunningham tie it all up with that clutch 3, but the Magic found a way to pull away in this one. How would you describe the way they were able to do it?
Dicey. They were up 15 with 7.5 minutes left, and then, the Pistons tied it, and then they pulled away. But they got some big shots from Franz Wagner. Paolo Banchero had a pretty good game, although he wasn't very efficient shooting the ball. I think Wendell Carter should be called out here because he had a monster double-double, and he really has been outplaying Jalen Duren in this series. Jalen Duren almost went for his own double-double and had 5 blocks, but he fouled out. And really, Wendell Carter gave him all he could handle. And then one more guy that we should single out here is Desmond Bane, who had a pretty bad shooting night in Game 2. Responded big time in Game 3 in Orlando, back at home, goes for 25 points, hits 7 three-pointers tonight. The Orlando Magic, Jordan, for a long time, I don't think they made a three-pointer for like 10 years. And then tonight they shoot 45% from deep. So that was a little surprising, but I guess eventually it has to go in, and tonight it did.
It definitely did, and it was surprising and is surprising that they have taken the series lead at 2-1. So they stole, obviously, Game 1. Nobody expected that. We were all shocked after that game, and here they are. What has gotten into this Magic team, and how have they been able to prove all of the doubters wrong?
Yeah, I mean, this is sort of the Magic team that was promised all season long. I and a lot of people thought that the Magic were going to take a leap this season because they do, on paper, have a very compelling team, and they play great defense. But it took them pretty much all season until the play-in game where they beat the Charlotte Hornets, and then they win Game 1 in Detroit where it looked like, oh, this is the Magic team that we were waiting for all season long. They're actually trying now. They're making shots. I'm still not entirely sold on the pairing between Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner, but so far in this series, they've looked pretty good. Now, again, they haven't been super efficient, and they've needed a lot of offense from Desmond Bane, but a guy like Jalen Suggs, who was injured earlier this season, he's playing really well. They're getting good contributions off the bench from Anthony Black, and I think defensively, they've done a really good job on Cade Cunningham, especially in Game 3. Yes, Cade went for 27 points, but man, did they make him work. Just 8 of 22 from the floor, and they turned him over 8 times. So the Magic, when they're playing through their defense, when that's their primary pursuit, they're a really tough team, and they were tonight.
Let's get to the Pistons here. Just another heartbreaker for Cade Cunningham in particular, doing the absolute most. How do they steal one back on Monday?
Yeah, Cade needs to be more efficient. He needs to take care of the ball. Again, 8 turnovers. That can't happen. That really hurt them tonight. I didn't think Cade was all of the problem. There's plenty of blame to go around here. I mean, Jalen Duren, I called him out earlier. We'll do it again here. He has not had a good series. He had a great season. He might end up as a third-team All-NBA. He was a finalist for Most Improved Player of the Year. He didn't win it, but still, he's had a really good year. And he's a guy who bet on himself this past offseason when he was looking for $30 million a year from the Pistons. The Pistons balked at that. And then after the season he's thinking, well, I'm going to get paid big time. Okay, you're probably still going to get paid big time, but if you want to be a big-time money guy, you got to play like that in the playoffs when you're the 1 seed, and now you're down to the 8 seed 2-1. Doesn't mean you're going to lose the series, but they need a lot more out of Jalen Duren for sure. I think Asar Thompson's been fine. Duncan Robinson, they need some more shooting there. This is sort of what you're seeing from the Pistons and the Magic in this series. They're two very, very similar teams. And In game 3, the Magic got their shots to fall, and the Pistons didn't. Neither of them shoot the ball very well, but that was really the difference.
Well, they will get another chance come Monday. Stay put, John. Much more from you on the other side here on HQ as the Orlando Magic continue to surprise us all, taking the 2-1 series lead in this one against the Detroit Pistons. As I mentioned, that game 4 Monday from Orlando, 8 p.m. Eastern time.
In New York, well, yeah, there's panic in New York, all right. We're going to talk about it with our friend and CBS basketball analyst, Sam Quinn. The Knicks and Hawks headed to Atlanta. Atlanta up 2-1 on the series. I don't want to call it a must-win, Sam, but it's sort of a must-win for New York. Panic certainly settling in.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you look at this series, the Knicks gave up 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges. Yeah. He goes scoreless in game 3. He doesn't close the game. He plays 20 minutes. Karl Anthony Towns shooting 57% in the series, but only taking 12 shots because they're seemingly afraid to give him the ball with Jonathan Kuminga on him. I came into this postseason looking at the Knicks and thinking all of their players are healthy. They're all in their prime. It's a relatively weak Eastern Conference, maybe not as weak as we thought coming into the year, but certainly weaker than it's going to be in the years to come with all of these younger teams, including Atlanta, probably getting better. If it was ever going to happen for the Knicks, it kind of needed to happen now, and it's not happening for them. They have a lot of problems that they need to figure out. Mike Brown is throwing out lineups left and right that didn't play together in the regular season. I am very, very concerned about New York going into game 4. You don't want to call it quite a must-win game given New York's clutch heroics in the past. Certainly not in this series, but in the past. I wouldn't rule out a 3-1 comeback, but you really want to get home court advantage back. You don't want to put yourself in a position where you have to win 3 straight. So it's as close to a must-win game as it can really get.
I feel like we're all saying the same thing. I don't want to call it a must-win, but it's kind of a must-win. And I know it was a 1-point game that last time out, game 3, but Sam, we're talking an 18-point lead Atlanta had at one point. Just terrible shooting from the Knicks, so hopefully they bounce back. I don't know why I said hopefully. I'm a Celtics fan, but hopefully for Knicks fans, they bounce back here in game 4. Let's talk about the Thunder and Suns, the series heading to Phoenix. Thunder up 2-0, both games very lopsided. 35-point game, 1 win, 13-point game, 2 win. The only reprieve Phoenix may get here outside of being home is the fact that Jalen Williams is banged up and out for OKC, and that is a huge hit for the Thunder. He's been the second leading scorer behind SGA, huge for them on defense. How likely is it the Suns can at least get one here?
I would say pretty unlikely, just given how well the Thunder played all season without Jalen Williams. He played 33 games, and when he played, he was pretty diminished. The Thunder still won 64. They're going to be fine against Phoenix. Phoenix isn't the concern here. I would have felt, maybe even as recently as a few days ago, that they would even be fine in the second round when their options were play a greatly diminished Lakers team or play a Rockets team that hadn't beaten them in a game yet and still frankly hasn't. Now I look at the Lakers, who might be getting Austin Reeves back as soon as game 4, and Luka is looming in the background. Not having Jalen Williams for that series, given all of the problems Luka gave them in the playoffs 2 years ago, is suddenly potentially problematic. Now, defensively, I think the Thunder are going to be okay. They're so deep. They have so many players that can take on so many matchups. You go into a Luka matchup and you're thinking, Lou Dort is probably going to be the primary defender on Luka. You're probably going to throw doubles at him. You'll be okay on that end of the floor. The question is, can you generate the secondary shot creation that you're going to need to score enough in a series like that? You're going to need more offensively out of Chet Holmgren. You're going to need A.J. Mitchell probably to step up as your bench scorer, but it's also going to be a heavier load on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So my questions are offensively. I think they'll be okay, but the Lakers looking a little bit more dangerous now than they were a few days ago.
And it sounds like you are sort of saying, the Suns are done with. Can I ask you, though, we talk about the level of concern for the Knicks because it feels like every season is their season, and with the names they have on paper, they should be making it deep into the playoffs. Phoenix has sort of felt like a team that should have had a lot more success over the last 4 years, and of course you look at Dillon Brooks going off for them, but Devin Booker being the focal point of this team. A little disappointing as we look at, I know we're only a few games into the postseason, but just, I guess, vibe level looking into next season for this Phoenix squad.
Well, I guess it depends on the standard you're judging them on, right? When they traded all those picks for Kevin Durant, you probably had championship expectations. It was such a disaster with Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal that this year sort of felt like a cultural reset for them, where it's not a championship or bust year. You're bringing in Dylan Brooks, you're hiring a rookie coach in Jordan Knott, your fourth head coach in 4 years, and thought is, let's just be competitive. And ultimately they were. They won 45 games. They made the playoffs. That being said, when you're kind of just a mosquito on Oklahoma City's windshield in the first round, it doesn't feel great as far as the long-term outlook goes. Devin Booker, not as good this year as he's been in the past, really relying on getting to the foul line, not shooting as well from three, doesn't look nearly as explosive. If the standard was just, we want to be competitive, we want to make the playoffs, yeah, they lived up to it. If the standard is, we want to compete with these teams like Oklahoma City, well, they've got a long way to go, and this series was a reminder that giving up a player like Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal, without that star power, it's going to be hard to compete with teams like the Thunder.
Yeah, and by vibe level, I meant panic level, but you know what I meant. Game 4, Minnesota, Sam, the Nuggets needing a big bounce back after a rough Game 3. The T-Wolves defense, though, really the big storyline. We have to give them the credit, right? We saw Jokic limited as a big result there. Ball movement was stagnant. And, of course, the absence of Aaron Gordon was certainly felt. He is questionable with that calf for Game 4. What do you make of this series so far?
I never thought I would say this, especially offensively, but the Denver Nuggets have a Nikola Jokic problem right now. Rudy Gobert is defending him as well one-on-one as any player ever has in a playoff series. But I think even more pertinently, Nikola Jokic is shooting 5 of 24 from 3 in this series. Since he got hurt, since he dealt with that knee injury in the middle of the season, he was shooting 44% on threes the first few months of the year. He gets hurt. He's shooting in the low 30s since he came back. If Nikola Jokic can't shoot threes in this series, that creates all manner of other problems for Denver's offense, because suddenly you can just pack the paint, go under screens against him. Jamal Murray can't get to the rim at that point. And if Nikola Jokic can't generate offense, if he can't draw in doubles, because he can't against Rudy Gobert, given how well he's playing in this series, the Nuggets don't have that much other shot creation. It's really reliant on two players who right now are getting handled pretty thoroughly by Minnesota, so they're just not going to have that many sources of offense. So this all starts for Denver. Can Jokic start making some threes? Make Minnesota come up and defend him from behind the arc and create that space at the rim that Jamal Murray and those other scorers are going to need. If they can't do that, especially with either a compromised Aaron Gordon or not having Aaron Gordon at all, they're so unathletic without Aaron Gordon and without Peyton Watson, who also has been hurt in this series. I just don't know if they're going to be able to generate the offense they need to win this series.
I have to think, though, like the Joker, everybody's calling him a disaster. I know we saw the graphics. The numbers aren't great. The guy still has 3 triple-doubles, though, 24 or more points. The boards are there. It's like you can only do so much when you're being targeted the way he is, but I understand what you're saying. So let's say the T-Wolves move on then. How deep of a run do you see as a possibility for them?
I'm not super optimistic yet. I mean, you look at Jaden McDaniels after Game 2 basically coming out and saying, well, yeah, it's easy to score against Denver. All of their defenders are bad. Next round, right now, they'd be looking at San Antonio. I know Victor Wembanyama missed Game 3 against Portland. San Antonio's defenders are a good deal better, and I think they're far better equipped to really challenge Minnesota offensively, really poke at some of their holes. Julius Randle obviously being a very inconsistent playoff performer, not having much in the way of playmaking. You know, Anthony Edwards not himself right now, dealing with that runner's knee, not really having a traditional point guard. The Nuggets aren't really equipped to punish them for those things, but I do think that San Antonio would be, so that's when the real test comes, right? We've seen Minnesota beat Denver in a playoff series. I don't know how surprised we should be from this. Frankly, I did think Denver was going to win this series, but given the track record, I think a series like this is not out of the realm of possibility. San Antonio, I think, is going to be a tougher sell. Victor Wembanyama being at the rim is going to change so much for them offensively, and I don't know that they can adjust to that.
Yeah, I mean, defense wins championships. The fact that they and Edwards for 23 minutes and they still got the dub is a little scary for the Nuggets. Sam Quinn, thank you. We appreciate you. As the action rolls on here, today's NBA playoff games starting, well, continuing, I should say, 3:30 with the Thunder and Suns.